Hello and welcome back. We are at the very end of our learning event. For the last 2 days, we've been discussing the updates on funding for social economy, good practice, and the novelties in the sector. Let me thank again our strategic sponsor, the European Commission, as well as all other partners. Your contributions are very much appreciated. At this occasion, I would like to also acknowledge the cooperation with the EIB Group, EIF, EIB, and EIB Institute. MFC has a long and successful track record of cooperating with the group. Over 80% of our members have benefited from various financial instruments and programs that have been implemented by the group. This cooperation has included financial instruments for microfinance, technical assistance programs, supporting innovation, digitalization, and peer learning. Before we move on, I would like to encourage you to fill out the conference evaluation form available via the QR code on the slide or via the link you can see in the chat box. Thank you in advance for your feedback. We value it a lot. In these very last minutes of our learning together, I would like to invite our guest speaker, brilliant practitioner and MFC Council Chairman, Archil Bakuradze, founder and chairman of the board of Crystal from Georgia. Archil, welcome. We are looking forward to hearing your reflections on social finance vibe as well as your insights into the future. Our virtual floor is yours.
Distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues and friends, as we come to the close of the 4th edition of Social Finance Vibe, I want to take a moment and reflect on the incredible journey we've experienced over these 2 days. The event has attracted a diverse group of experts, leaders, not only from the world of social finance, but also from sectors of technology, green energy, social housing, and generally entrepreneurship related support organizations. This year event was truly overshone previous editions with over 500, as I know, participants registered from 75 countries, and nearly 400 of you were actively engaged in the sessions. We had 26 sessions and 62 speakers and moderators, which is truly amazing. We've explored the evolving landscape of microfinance, and it is clear that we are in the crossroads of major transformation. First, ESG reporting is no longer a niche requirement, but a standard expectation from lenders. This shift is influencing the decisions and ultimately shaping how financial providers allocate resources. Green transformation financing is becoming a top priority, and while we're still at the early stage of understanding the most effective paths forward, we're already seeing promising examples. The microfinance of tomorrow will be one of ecosystems that connect diverse partners to create sustainable supply chains, promote green solutions, and empower micro entrepreneurs, often provided by emerging technologies like AI. Second, technology, which is reshaping how we operate. AI is not only helping financial providers improve their internal efficiencies, such as fraud detection and automating routine tasks, but it's also transforming how we engage with clients. The ability to offer tailored financial and non-financial services is no longer a luxury. It's an expectation. In a world where technology is evolving at an extraordinary pace, agility in leadership and strategy will define the success of tomorrow's social finance institutions. Third, the future of digitalization lies in cooperation. Microfinance providers need not develop at the digital expertise in-house. By collaborating with specialized IT solution providers, we can gradually and effectively digitalize our services without overburdening internal capacities. This partnership-driven approach will enable us to meet the needs of our clients more efficiently and inclusively. Another crucial takeaway from the event is the importance of broadening access to finance for vulnerable groups. By engaging diverse partners, including public bodies, we're making strides in addressing the financial needs of refugees and migrants, whose numbers are increasing due to the global challenges. European initiatives like AMIF have been instrumental in this support, and we must continue to support and shape these programs to provide real solutions for undeserved communities. Finally, the social finance sector is growing, but it is not without challenges. The diversification of financial service provider with social missions creates opportunities, but also requires adjustments in self-regulation and policy. Together with stakeholders, we must ensure that as the sector evolves, we maintain the highest standards of client protection and fair treatment. We've also heard about the European Commission's commitment to the development of the social economy. Despite concerns over shifts in political priorities, the introduction of new financial instruments alongside ongoing council initiatives demonstrates that social finance remains an important part of the European agenda. These developments promise to unlock new opportunities for providers across the continent. As we look to the future, we must remain bold, innovative, and committed to our shared mission. The Microfinance Center has always been known for its forward thinking and its ability to turn challenges into opportunities. I can assure you that we will continue to uphold our mandate to create a fair, responsible, and sustainable financial system that serves people, communities, and the planet. In conclusion, let me express my deep gratitude to all of you, our members, partners, participants, for your dedication, your insights, and your passion. This event would not be possible without your engagement. Let's take an energy from social finance way forward, collaborating across sectors, embracing innovation, and continuing to work towards a more inclusive and resilient future for all. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing the impact we'll make together in the years to come. And finally, I would like to have my deep gratitude expressed for the organizers, for the team of MFC, and everybody who were involved in organizing, in perfect organization of this very exciting and fruitful event. Once again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Archil, so much for your reflections and for being here with us in the closing of the Social Finance Vibe 2024. This was very much appreciated. Let us hear now from another guest speaker, Tim Ogden, the Managing Director at Financial Access Initiative at New York University, Wagner. Tim will comment on the current state of financial inclusion for vulnerable groups. His speech is also a great summary of our conference. Tim, thank you for joining us, and we are looking forward to your remarks.
Hi, I'm Tim Ogden, Managing Director of the Financial Access Initiative at NYU Wagner, and I'm very pleased to have the opportunity to give a little talk here for the Microfinance Center's conference again this year. I'm honored and more than a little surprised that Justina and team keep inviting me to give what they call inspirational talks. I expect they inspire me at least as much as they inspire anyone else, and probably more. In fact, this past spring, I published a paper with Joyce Klein of the Aspen Institute that drew on some thoughts I first shared during the MFC talk I gave last year, a paper called Lessons for Global Microfinance from the United States. And as I said, it drew on some of those thoughts, so I don't want to dwell on them too much for those of you who heard that talk last year. But just quickly, there are four things in that talk, in that paper, that continue to be relevant, and I think will continue to be relevant well into the future. The first is that subsidy for financial inclusion is permanent. There is not a magic formula or a way of doing things that's going to make it profitable and desirable to serve marginalized communities in low-income populations, whether it's in the United States or anywhere else. If we want high-quality financial services to be delivered to those populations, there is an element of subsidy that has to be part of that calculus. Second is that competition can increase costs. A whole lot of motivation in policy and strategy in financial inclusion around the world has been, the idea that we can crowd in for-profit competitors by proving out a market and bring in and let the market do its work. And to a certain extent, that's right. The market can do its work. It can bring in competitors. But as we get competitors, it drives up costs for community development microfinance institutions that are trying to reach the marginalized, the hardest to reach, through the noise that competition can bring. And so competition isn't on its own going to bring about the outcomes that we desire. Third is that, as you heard me talk about a lot last year, technology won't fix this problem. Just because there are technological innovations that can drive down costs today, they tend to always drive down costs across the board. And so the relative costs of serving lower income and more marginalized populations, more difficult to reach populations, doesn't change in relation to less marginalized and better off populations. And so the temptation for mission drift to increase sustainability often is the justification for it, is always there no matter what technology does. And that's not to mention any of the additional costs that come with technology innovation and keeping up with technology innovation and maintaining those systems. And then fourth, that the work of consumer protection is never done. We can't just assume that if we pass the right set of regulations, if we have the right set of financial authorities, if we have the right governance for specific financial institutions, that we can stop paying attention. Bad actors and predatory actors are always there looking to find ways around the problems. And so we have to maintain vigilance, pay attention to what those bad actors are doing. And as we seek to innovate and do better, we have to be aware that many of those innovations won't just be used by good actors, they'll be used by bad actors as well. And so we always have to be on guard for those things. And so those are key lessons that I think the global microfinance world needs to learn from the United States. And those lessons come from the United States because the United States has a really long history of attempts, but also of struggles and failures in financial inclusion. And the current landscape that we see in developed countries isn't from the absence of microfinance and other attempts at financial inclusion. It's the outcome of not truly finally successful attempts to increase financial inclusion. Just today, the Department of the Treasury in the United States released a national strategy for financial inclusion. It's the first time there's been a federal government national strategy for financial inclusion. And you might look at that today. If you look it up, you can find it online. You might think, why haven't they figured these things out already if they've been trying for so long? And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about today is the reason they haven't figured it out, the reason we haven't figured it out, the reason France hasn't figured it out, the UK hasn't figured it out, Denmark hasn't figured it out. No matter what the country around the world that you go to, no one has really figured out the final solution, the ultimate way to deliver financial inclusion sustainably to all parts of the population, because it's hard, because there aren't those magic solutions. So one of the things that came out of publishing that paper was a series of webinars that we have done at FAI in conjunction with FinDev Gateway. Discussions including Greta Bull, formerly of CGAP and now of the Gates Foundation, Andre Simone of Finca, Bridget Doherty and Upoma Hussain of BRAC, Sophie Sertain and Alexander Soteriou from CGAP. And if you haven't seen those yet, they're available on the FAI website, on the FinDev Gateway site, and on YouTube. I'd really encourage you to watch them. I think they're really interesting and useful conversations, and there's some great chat and questions going on. But in the first webinar, there was a particular question that really struck me. Is one of the people watching said, I feel like we've been having this conversation about the future of financial inclusion and how we get over some of these challenges and around some of these challenges for 20 years. How do we move past them and not just keep having the same conversation over and over again? And my response was, we haven't been having these same conversations for 20 years. We've been having these same conversations for 200 years. In fact, it's probably more accurate to say we've been having these same conversations for at least 400 years. Financial inclusion has been a problem, a challenge for all of that time, and very smart and well-meaning people have been attempting to solve these challenges. But they're not easy. And in fact, the fact of having the fact of having this conversation over and over again is absolutely necessary. The reason we're still need to have these conversations over and over again is as soon as we stop having these conversations, things go off the rails. It's so easy for things to go off the rails, for mission drift or for predatory actors or for lack of attention or for shocks, any variety of things to come along and push the organizations who are serving the underserved, who are serving the least reached populations off the board, out of the way, into oblivion. We've reinvented microfinance many times simply because it has gone away from lack of conversation, from lack of attention, that we do have to have these conversations, that we do have to focus on it, that we do have to subsidize, that we do have to realize that technology isn't going to save us, that isn't going to fix all these problems. We have to keep talking about the need for microfinance, for financial institutions to do the hard work of reaching the poor and marginalized. We have to keep talking about what it takes to sustain the MFIs like yours that do this work. We have to keep talking about how to balance regulation for consumer protection and efforts to reduce barriers to action. We have to keep talking about how to use technology to increase access and quality rather than just becoming slaves to technology that pushes scale just for scale's sake. We have to keep talking about governance that keeps mission drift in check and investment in human capital to ensure institutions are well run and attentive to the customers we seek to serve. We have to keep talking about them because there isn't a 10-step guide. There's not one weird trick that's going to fix these problems. They evolve, they change, they're permanent problems. And conferences like this, chances to get together to talk, researchers, practitioners, regulators, about these challenges and recognizing these challenges aren't going away. Those conversations are essential for us to make progress into the future, but just to maintain the achievements that we already have. And when we look at the data, those achievements are significant. Far more people are included today than were 20 years ago. Far more people have access to higher quality institutions than they did 20 years ago. We've made a lot of progress. To hang on to that progress, we have to not take that progress for granted, and we need to keep having these conversations. So that's what I hope to inspire you to do this year. Don't run or hide from conversations about why financial services for the excluded are necessary, why they deserve subsidy to make sure that those excluded people are ultimately included, that they do have the chance to access financial services. Don't run away from conversations about thoughtful policy that recognizes that there are bad actors out there, and we do need to do things to protect people from bad actors. But we also need to have a regulatory framework that allows you to do the work that you do at costs that are affordable for your customers. So I hope that you've had a rich series of days of conversations so far. I hope that you continue to have those conversations. If you have thoughts about how to solve some of these challenges or what you've seen working, I would love to hear from you. One of my goals for the next year, what conferences like this and conversations like this inspire me to do, is to invest a lot more in studying excellence in operations in microfinance institutions. What are the best governance models? What are the best human capital models? How can we make sure that MFIs around the world are not only capable of imagining innovation, but implementing innovation to increase our impact and reach? So thank you again, Justina and team, for giving me a chance to address the group. Thank you for giving me a small bit of your attention. Thank you for inspiring me in the work that we do. And please keep having those conversations. Keep fighting for more financial inclusion, better quality services for more people all around the world. Thank you.
Once again, thank you, Tim, for your reflections. It became our small tradition that you are joining the conference each year, and we are pretty much enjoying it. So 2 days of learning together are coming to the end. This learning event offered 26 sessions and 3 inspirational talks. Big applause to almost 62 moderators and speakers, and to all of you attending, asking questions, commenting. Thank you for co-creating this event with us. Last but not least, this event would not be possible if not the awesome MFC team who has made the event happen. You can see also our colleagues in not remote areas, but in other locations, Paweł and Grzegorz, and the whole MFC team here in the office in Warsaw. They have worked really hard over the last few months to deliver the best quality learning experience. These are the people that, together with our members and the MFC Council, create the quality of MFC network. Thank you all. Thank you, Paweł. Thank you, Grzegorz, for making this event happen. And to all of you attending, once again, thank you all, and see you actually next year in May at our on-site conference in Georgia at the end of May 2025. Thank you and see you soon.